Hey, Dr. Cohen at Backbone. We are going to talk today about the single most powerful structural corrective tool I have ever used. Actually, it's not my hands, it's not any of our wobble or traction, it's the head weighting system. Dr. Pettibon developed the weighting system as a means of activating the body's reflexes that are going to help us with this correction. There's a long story as to how he got to it. If you want to know sometime, come in and sit down with me. We'll go for a cup of coffee and I can share with you all about it. But basically what we're looking at is this. The number one problem that I see in practice, and I've seen this every single day for almost 20 years. People have spine injuries, back, neck, shoulders, hips, I don't care what it is. I see this almost 100%. This forward head position, this posturing here. You get into a car crash, whips back and forth, you're going to get stuck this way. Today we have text neck. That's kind of the new thing, right? We're sitting, we do this all day long. If you've not seen this one, leave your house and just look around. I mean, you see it everywhere. People are doing this on their phones. We're at our computers way too many hours a day, right? Sitting, these forward postures. This is the most common problem that I see, and it is the underlying root of so many different things going on. My neck hurts, my back hurts, my hip, my shoulder, you show me somebody without forward head posture and I'll show you somebody who is super, super healthy and strong. So what we want to look at is how do we reduce forward head posture? Well, there's kind of two schools of thought on the matter. One is I can try and shove the head back. So I could take Heather's head here and say, well, Heather, your head's forward. I'm going to shove it back where it belongs. And you can see her face is not, she's like, that doesn't feel that nice. It's not a happy feeling. The other part of the problem here is that just trying to shove it back where I think it should be doesn't generally work that well. Right? People come in all the time and they say, well, Doc, I've been working on my posture. I've been doing these, chin tuck exercises, and I've been trying to improve my posture. There's a difference between a postural muscle, right? This is just a involuntary. I don't control my postural muscles. They work reflexively. They do automatic things for me. So if I go to shift my body weight, if I go to walk, my postural muscles automatically fire to keep me upright. If I go and I say, I'm going to try and do this on my own, and I'm just going to pull my chin back, I'm going to do these chin, and I know a lot of great chiropractors that teach this, and it's just not the most effective way of doing it. When you're doing an activity volitionally, meaning I'm thinking I want to move my head this way, and I make it move that way. It's no longer a reflex response, it's now me consciously doing it. Consciously doing means I'm using a muscle other than my postural muscle to try and get the job done. The postural muscle having a problem is why the forward head posture exists to begin with. So to try and use something other than the postural muscles to cause the head to come back and correct isn't really going to fix the problem. The principle here is, instead of trying to shove the head back where I want it, I'm going to try and pull the head forward. You stop and you go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Why would you want it further forward? Well, I'm assuming a couple of things, right? I'm assuming, one, that Heather has the ability to respond because I'm assuming Heather is still alive. If I want to shove her head back where I think it should be and expect it to stay there, that works great if she's already dead. You're not dead, are you, right? Wait, let me see. It's still alive. She's still alive. It's good. So instead of pulling her head back where I want it, I tip down for one quick second. She wears this head weight with the weights in the front, and the band goes all the way around the head, and what we're literally doing, tilt this way for me here, turn this way, I'm literally pulling her head forward. And you would think that's kind of counterintuitive, but we want her head to come back. But what's the body's natural response? Is to simply engage those muscles and pull back. If you think about that, I push forward, you don't think about coming back, you just respond that way. That's a reflex. That's the normal response to being pulled is, no, I'm going to resist that. If we turn here, I can push her sideways, and her natural response, you can't see it, but I can feel it. She's already immediately pushing back against me. If she didn't push back against me, I'd be more concerned, right? It's the normal response of the body, the normal reflex, meaning she's engaging all of her muscles without having to think about it in order to keep from falling over. So a little bit of pressure, and pretty soon she's like, no, I don't want to fall over. She'll give a little bit, but pretty soon she's going to go, no, if I keep going, I'm going to fall. we don't want to fall, so we reflex. We naturally respond and say, no, I'm going to go the opposite. So knowing there's forward head posture, we put the weights in the front and our head pulls back. Now the trick here is, and this isn't the patient's job, this is my job. How much weight? Do I need any placed anywhere besides the front? In addition to the head weight, do I need a shoulder weight, right? And this is by no means Heather's correct setup of the weights. I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like. So let me have your left arm through here, Heather. And this one goes around and under. And you probably see her shoulders going to start to shift immediately. It begins to lift that shoulder weight up. I'm not going to bother to put the hip weights on her, but you can see same thing happens with the hips. We can put them in the back, in the front, one in the back, one in the front. I mean, it's whatever I decide is going to get the job done for each person. And no two people have ever had an identical configuration that's been exactly what they both needed. So part of my fun as being the doctor is, let's figure out which weights or which weight combination the person needs. So the head weight works through the neck, it works through the upper back. The shoulder weights work through the neck, through the lower back, all the way down to about here. And then the hip weights work the pelvis, the lower back, and they all kind of feed off of each other so that if I wanted to make her spine unbend or bend one direction or the other, I can use a combination to get these things to change however I need her to. And the coolest part of it all is she never has to stop and think about, wait, which way am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? The instructions for this is, Heather, you put them on and then go about your business. I don't care what you're doing. 20 minutes, and the goal here is 20 minutes twice per day. You can be standing, you can be sitting, you can be driving. I don't care. As long as you're wearing them, your brain says, something's a little off balance. What do I need to do to correct that? How do I stabilize and rebalance that position? That's what we're after with the weights. When we set somebody up with the weights in the office, if there's any question, I've been doing weights for 20 years, I published a study, I'm very, very comfortable with the weights. But if there's ever any question on somebody like, do we really have the right weight? Is this right? Then guess what? We just go and we can go take a quick x-ray with the weights on, compare it to the neutral film without the weights on, and know we need more weight, we need less weight, we need to shift it one side or the other, we need to add a shoulder or a hip. And again, none of that's for you to have to worry about. That's all my job, and it's the fun part of the job. But it works really, really well, and it makes it so where you can be doing these things at home and driving the correction forward even when you're not in the clinic. And that's probably one of the coolest parts, because I don't know too many chiropractors or I don't really know too many health professionals that are going to be able to say, go do this at home, and you're going to continually improve as long as you're doing it. That's it's a very empowering thing for a patient to be able to say, I'm not 100% dependent on my doctor. I have some control over my health. I have some control over how am I going to respond and how am I going to recover. And it's a very cool thing. It's a lot of fun, and we test each individual for a separation of whatever weights they need. So like I said, no two people are the same, and we just kind of work the way through the process. Weights will change through care. That's kind of normal as your strengths change. And that's it. We just have a great time doing this, and at the end of it, we can take a follow-up film and show you we actually made the change occur in the shape of the spine that we talk about in the beginning of care with somebody, and that's the best part, is the results.